Good evening, everybody. Excuse me, my name's Mary Ann Lucas, and I'll be the special master here today to hear your cases. I will hear testimony from both sides, the city and as well as you, before I make any decisions. When you come to the podium, please state your name and your relationship to the property, whether you're the owner or the property manager or the attorney or what have you. Okay? So anybody who's going to testify, if you can please stand and raise your right hand to be sworn in. Anybody who's going to talk to me, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that
No.
Okay, let the record reflect that all present have been sworn.
Appeals for this evening. SMA 1908 for 860 Ocean Drive. This is a BTR, but Your Honor, they've made a request for a continuance on this.
Okay.
This is on page 27, second one down.
27. I don't have any page numbers.
Yeah,
What's the 1908?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening, Your Honor. Attorney Steve Polisar, 407 Lincoln Road, Miami Beach. We respectfully request a continuance this evening. I had a conversation with City Attorney Stephen Rothstein, and we've had a previous case that with the same fact pattern, which was successfully resolved, and he suggested I communicate with Mr. McMillan, who is here, and I haven't had an opportunity to do that thus far. I'd like that opportunity because I think this can be resolved amicably and successfully, and would respectfully request a continuance. Then come back to the court with the final resolution.
Any objections?
No objection, but based on review of the case and the BTRs, comparable BTRs in the area, we're willing to close the case now.
Well, that was easy.
Yes.
So you want to withdraw your motion for continuance?
I'd like to continue it to about 6:04.
All right.
With the judge's permission.
The BTR that they had complied with city policy.
Okay.
Thank you,
So
Mr.
you're going to
McMillan.
close the case.
Thank you,
All
Your
right,
Honor.
very good.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you, City.
It's on page 22. Page 22, top one, SMA 181664 for 915 Lincoln Road. Your Honor, this was a continuance that was granted from May.
Okay. Very good. Good evening, counsel, for the record.
Good evening, Your Honor. James Rao with Green Spoon Martyr, here on behalf of the alleged violator.
Okay. Inspector, good evening.
Good evening. Marnie Jefferson, Co-Compliance Officer for the City of Miami Beach.
Okay. Go ahead, just let me know what happened here.
All right, so this violation was issued to 915 Lincoln Road on October 31st, 2018. This is for a violation of Section 82-385 and 82-371, failing to adhere to the standards, criteria, and conditions required of a sidewalk cafe. The reference is expansion of a sidewalk cafe to 137 chairs, which is not approved on the sidewalk cafe plan. This does carry a fine of $500.
Where's the fence?
Yes, but let me also look it up. So this was Halloween night. What happened is that after the night began, we were called over by a representative from Public Works, Othniel Rodriguez, and he advised that Meat Market had expanded their sidewalk cafe. At that time, what we did was we counted the amount of tables as well as chairs, looking at the Sidewalk Cafe, also their plans that we have in the system, and what it showed that they are allowed 95 chairs within their Sidewalk Cafe. At the time that we were there that night, we counted 137 chairs within the Sidewalk Cafe area. I do have their plans, which show in the legend that they are allowed 95 tables within the Sidewalk Cafe area, as well as the type of chairs that are allowed. They had a mixture of chairs within the Sidewalk Cafe area that night, which was between what we call Shivari chairs, as well as the chairs that they have within that's on the permit. I do have pictures. The ones that were taken with my iPad may be kind of dark, but I do have also pictures that were taken from the Public Works representative or employee, and it does show the difference of the chairs that the people are sitting in, as well as the chairs that were supposed to be in a Sidewalk Cafe stacked to the rear of their Sidewalk Cafe area.
Okay. You show them to Mr. Rao, and then we'll submit them.
This is the plan. These are the chairs that are allowed. And then in the legend, it says 95 seats for exterior. Again, the pictures are kind of blurry, but these are the chairs stacked up that were supposed to be. These are also some of the chairs here. The violation was posted. These are the different chairs that were not allowed that night. Again, these are. So what ended up happening was that once we counted the amount of chairs that were in the Sidewalk Cafe, I issued the violation. I went to speak to a manager in reference to what was going on. They refused to sign the violation, so at that time I posted it once everything was completed on the door of the restaurant.
Okay. Let me just take a look at these real quick.
Okay. Again, the first couple of pictures are kind of blurry, which were mine,
Yeah.
but in the last couple of pictures, you can see the difference in the chairs.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Rao.
Thank you, Your Honor. Inspector, did you count the 137 chairs that you recite on the violation?
Yes, I was one of the people on scene that counted the chairs.
Well, how many, okay, so how many did you count?
I counted anywhere. We all came up with different numbers, but at the end, it was between 132 and 137 chairs.
So you came up with a different number than another inspector did.
There was about 3 inspectors there that night, as well as the employee from Public Works.
You don't know if you really counted the 137 or a different number?
It was well over 95 chairs that should have been there.
You don't know if 137 was the number you counted or not?
It could be, yes.
The other people that counted, they're not here, correct?
She was one of the people that was there.
Okay. Well, I'm not here to testify, but, okay. So this was Halloween night, correct?
Yes, it was.
Very busy on Lincoln Road.
Yes, it is.
Busiest night of the year, you agree?
Yes, I do.
Did you, at any time, before issuing the this is the first offense, correct?
Yes.
Did you, at any time, give them an opportunity to cure this violation before issuing the violation?
At the time of the violation, being that it was very busy, their Sidewalk Cafe was being occupied by numerous amount of people. There's no time at that very moment to say, take out the extra 30-something or 40-something odd chairs that are in the Sidewalk Cafe because people are actually occupying the chairs. So we issued the violation at that time due to the fact that there was expansion of the Sidewalk Cafe, especially with the amount of people that we have on Lincoln Road on that night. It's more chairs than are required that are supposed to be seated within that allotted area. So no time was given because people were actually in the chairs. People were dining, people were eating, talking, and we issued the violation at that time.
And I appreciate your explanation, but I just wanted to establish, you didn't give them an opportunity to correct it before issuing the violation, correct?
No.
And when you say expansion, do you mean the footprint of the Sidewalk Cafe expanded, or they just had more chairs?
More chairs, meaning that if they have a allotted area that they're supposed to be seating their patrons in, if you add more chairs, then you're then shuffling tables around, you're moving certain things around to actually add these extra people within your Sidewalk Cafe area.
I'm just asking.
Yes.
There's a footprint in the Sidewalk Cafe.
Yes, it's in the
Was
plans.
that expanded? Is the allegation that was expanded, or is the allegation just that were additional chairs?
The additional chairs, I did put that it was an expansion on the violation because it was over the area that was on their Sidewalk Cafe permit.
Okay, I don't know that you identified that, but I saw the word expansion, but then I saw chairs, so I'm
Okay.
just trying to determine whether you're saying they actually took up more space than they're permitted, or just that they had more chairs within the space they're permitted?
Initially, what the violation is for more chairs.
Okay,
The adding of the extra chairs within the Sidewalk Cafe.
understood. Okay. Your Honor, at this point, I don't have any further questions. I would just submit to Your Honor that the code officer's testimony is inconsistent with the violation itself. They had 3 people that counted 3 different numbers by their own admission. They're not sure whether the number 137 is accurate, and the number is material to this issue because it has to do with the number of chairs as testified to by the city. So at this point, but there's no competent substantial evidence that it was 137 chairs there. I mean, that's the situation we're in. I mean, that's not my testimony, that's from the city. So, on Halloween night, Lincoln Road, busiest night of the year, I understand it's very crowded, but we just don't have clear testimony as to how many chairs were there. That's what our concern is. I don't know, I wasn't there, but it's ambiguous at best as to what the number of chairs there were, and there's violations for the number of chairs. So our position is the city hasn't met their burden to prove through competent substantial evidence that there was a violation.
Well, I think that the other thing is that there were chairs that are not approved by your sidewalk plan, which is what she testified to as well, which is part of this violation. The different types of chairs that were used were not the chairs that are approved by the plan, which would lead one to believe that by adding the additional chairs, it was in excess of the 95 that was approved on your plan.
I thought of that. My concern with that was the testimony was that there were chairs stacked, presuming they weren't in use.
No,
But then
the
there were
same
these different
type of
kind of
chair was
chairs.
stacked on the side, is what I understood her to say.
She said the ones that should have been used were stacked.
No. Well,
Maybe we could ask
that,
the
I
question.
have a different understanding of what she said. Tell me, you testified about that there were different types of chairs,
Yes,
some that were not allowed by their plan,
yes.
and what was stacked?
There were chairs stacked at the rear of their Sidewalk Cafe. They were the ones that are approved on the plans.
Uh-huh.
Some of those were stacked at the rear, I guess, to accommodate the extra chairs that were bought in, which were the Shivari chairs that you see the lines in the back of the chairs on the pictures. So there was a mixture of 2 different types of chairs within the Sidewalk Cafe that night.
So they're allowed chairs
They have to
were
have the,
on,
which
were
are on,
on the sidewalk,
Well, they were at the rear of the sidewalk cafe area.
Were there any allowed chairs on the sidewalk?
Not the sidewalk, no.
No, I mean in the cafe?
Yes.
Well, in the seating area of the
Yes, well,
cafe?
people, the patrons were sitting in the allowed chairs, yes.
And the balance of the allowed chairs were stacked? Or there were some of the allowed type chairs
Yes.
stacked?
Yes, there were some of the allowed chairs stacked at the back of their sidewalk cafe. There were also some of their chairs that are allowed on, according to the permit. They were within the sidewalk cafe as well, being used. And then they had the
Plus the
extra.
different chairs?
Yes,
Okay.
Your Honor, the reason I bring that up is because also to the notice issue, I mean, as with every violation in the city, before there's a violation issue, there's supposed to be notice and an opportunity, reasonable time to cure it. I mean, if we're really talking about using a chair that has a different back than another one, or issuing a violation that's gonna cost a business $500, I like to think there could be a notice that you're using a chair that has some holes in the back of the seat, so you have to use the other ones that you have stacked up behind it. So, that's our concern with regard to the notice issue. I don't know that they could have told them that night, based on the testimony, how many chairs were there, because nobody seems to know for sure. And quite frankly, I've been to Lincoln Road on Halloween. I don't think I could count it. There's just too much going on there. I'm not saying there wasn't, because I wasn't there. But we don't have consistent testimony that the violation is consistent with what the code officer said in terms of the number of chairs. As to the type, I mean, again, I understand that, but if we're talking about a chair with a slightly different back than another one, I think notice is appropriate. Certainly is required under the code, but certainly in that case, notice is appropriate. Hey, listen, you have 10 chairs stacked over there you can use. The ones you have out you can't use, switch them out, and I won't give you a violation.
And the fact that the manager, I believe you, or somebody you tried to give the violation to refused
Yes.
to take it,
yes.
if she had given notice to cure, do you think he would have kicked those people out of those chairs?
I guess we'll never know.
Now, I do want to say that the reason that they were not asked immediately to correct the violation was due, well, or given the allotted time to correct the violation was due to life safety issues, or it states here, life safety violations and/or sidewalk cafe plan violations shall be corrected immediately. Life safety violations are defined as the conditions which, in the reasonable determination of judgment of the city manager, involves serious danger and/or risk to the public health, safety, or welfare. Because of the amount of people, again, that were within the sidewalk cafe, as well as the amount of, one of the pictures you can actually see, that is Lincoln Road, and the amount of people that are there. Again, there wouldn't have been time to actually say, hey, can you please correct this and go from 137 chairs to 95 chairs, as what the permit states. Sorry. If a code compliance officer finds a violation of this division, such code compliance officer shall issue a notice of violation to the violator. The notice shall inform the violator of the nature of the violation, amount of the fine for which the violation may be appealed by requesting an administrative hearing before a special master. But again, what happened is that when I did advise them of the violation, they did refuse to sign the actual notice of violation, so I had to post it on the door instead.
We're not disputing notice of the violation.
Right, right. You know, as far as the testimony about the number of chairs, there were 3 folks out there. Yeah, it was busy, it's crowded on, I've been out there myself on Halloween at some times, but it, and I've seen several violations, not by by the meat market, but by several other organizations, you know, other restaurants and bars. Obviously, they try to maximize for customers. But I think that in any event, whether it was the 132 or the 137, it's in excess of what was allowed under your plan, under Meat Market's plan, as well as the fact that Meat Market has to use certain types of chairs and can't bring in extra chairs to accommodate extra customers. So I'm going to find that the violation occurred.
Your Honor, would you consider an adjudication where there's no fine in this case? Because the code in this case doesn't prohibit the special master from withholding the fine, whereas it does in some other situations.
Well, I would adjudicate, and what I would do is I would cut the fine in half, so it'll be a $250 fine.
Okay, we appreciate that, Your Honor.
Okay. And how long do they need to pay that?
We have the standard 30 days, just to
Okay.
get that
So that would be by September 9th.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Which day, September?
September 9th.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if, obviously, if not paid by that date, then it's the $500 fine. Okay.
Okay,
Next case.
same page, third one down, SMA 18-1782 for 150 20th Street, Townhouse Hotel LLC. This was also continued from May.
Okay.
Good evening, Your Honor. Adrian Noto on behalf of Townhouse Hotel LLC.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Code Compliance Officer Maharaj with the City of Miami Beach.
Good afternoon. Good evening. Wherever we are today, I don't know, I've been here all day, so whatever it is. Okay, go ahead. Tell me what's going on.
We're here today for a violation that was issued on December 16, 2018 at approximately 10:05 p.m. regarding conducting a special event without a permit under Section 12-5. I responded to a noise complaint at that location, and upon my arrival, I met with the manager and I did an inspection at the rooftop. Upon the inspection, I deemed that they were conducting a special event without a permit. Special event meaning operating outside the scope of the business. They had an art event at the rooftop. They had vendors selling arts and craft. And I'd like to submit into evidence the photos of what occurred that night.
Okay, if you show it to council first.
There's also a live performance that occurred at the rooftop on the same night.
Inspector, did the manager accept the violation? When,
Just 1 second, allow me
Okay.
to just browse through my notes.
okay,
Yeah, Mr. Archer was the manager, and at 10:21 p.m., he signed a notice of violation at approximately 10:21, and a copy was given to him. I explained the nature of the violation along with the appeal process to him.
okay.
Inspector, when you went up to the rooftop and you spoke with the manager, did you issue him a notice and a reasonable time to cure?
Yes, under this section of the code, for conducting a special event, a permit is required, and it's a process in obtaining a permit. So the reasonable time to comply was given, and there was no exception, no waiving the violation, because a permit is required to conduct such event.
So you met with him and you immediately issued the violation without providing a reasonable opportunity to
No,
cure?
I looked through the business tax receipt. I called my supervisor. I went through the appropriate means to give him a reasonable time to obtain any permit. He called the management because he told me that he was not aware if they had a permit. I explained to him the process in obtaining a permit and what is required for a special event.
But a reasonable opportunity, they could have stopped the event if they were given the notice to stop the event without issuing the violation, correct? A reasonable opportunity to cure. It's not a life safety issue, so it didn't need to be cured immediately. A reasonable opportunity to cure, they could have stopped the event that was going on. But instead, the violation was issued immediately.
Yes, because under this section of the code, a permit is required because when you're operating a business or any type of, there's a business tax, and you have to operate in accordance to your license. So therefore, this was outside the scope of their license.
Your Honor, it's not a life safety issue. It should have been a warning with a reasonable opportunity to cure, and while it may be in a violation for failure to comply with the BTR, it's not a failure to obtain a special event permit. They could have been provided with a reasonable opportunity to cure. The manager could have stopped the event and avoided the violation
They
here.
were given a reasonable time to comply.
Good evening, Your Honor. City of May Beach Co-Compliance Administrator Ken Varela. Part of the compliance process for this is issuance of the first offense, is compliance with returning the property to what it's licensed to be. In addition to that, paying a civil fine of whatever the first offense is. That's part of the compliance process. We do not need to issue a written warning. It goes straight to a first offense violation as per the fine schedule. Okay, so part of the compliance is returning the property to its licensed, what's approved, and paying a civil fine.
So, okay, so I get that. So the other compliance that you were speaking about, counsel, would be to get a permit. And obviously, there's no reasonable time to get a permit when the event is already happening. Because, and it's, I don't know what night this was, but
Right, the
it's,
rooftop's fully licensed and permitted. They do have a BTR for the rooftop. But we would maintain the position that to provide a reasonable opportunity to cure to stop the event. And, you know,
did he make any attempts to stop the event?
No, because I waited for a while because I believe the event was ending soon, so I did allow them the time to continue and waited until, you know, I explained the entire process, and they told me that yeah, it was an event with people from outside. So the city did give a reasonable time. We didn't ask them to cease immediately, and we told them for the future, the permitting process. So we did give a reasonable time. We did no interruption to the event that was occurring.
And you didn't shut them down?
No, ma'am.
Any response to that, counsel?
we would just maintain that a reasonable opportunity to, you know, stop the event.
Well, it sounds like she gave them a reasonable opportunity. She spoke to the manager, Mr. or Ms. Orta, or Mr. Orta, and explained the process. And as time was going on, nothing happened, and she testified that he made no attempt to change or stop anything.
I would ask, was the warning issued that if they stopped the event, they could, you know, you wouldn't issue the violation? Would he know that?
Under section -12-5, special event is required to have a permit, and it goes through several departments to approve a permit to ensure that they're complying with the ordinance. I met with Mr. Orta. I waited a while. I checked the system. I called Administrator Varela, who's here today. We went above and beyond to ensure that, you know, they were complying with everything they had. We checked the business license. And again, I even reached out to Planning and Zoning the next day to find out, and Tui Monday, who's no longer here, confirmed that a permit is required. And I went back and I spoke to Mr. Orta, and I told him, you guys cannot continue doing this without having a permit. So I did follow up with him, explaining explicitly what's needed in order to continue conducting a special event in the future.
So, in the event that we come across an event that's unpermitted and they're operating outside the scope of their license, procedure is to shut down the event and issue a violation. In this case, they allowed reasonable time for the company to
Right.
complete what they were doing. Right? But with that comes whatever fine comes with that ordinance. As far as issuing a written warning or negotiating some kind of for the issuance of a fine, discretion, so on and so forth. At this point, there was no other action that she was gonna take that did not involve issuing a fine for the unpermitted event. Okay?
And we would just maintain the position under section 3071 of the code that a warning is required. Your Honor.
Okay. Have they had other violations? Townhouse Hotel?
Not within a 1-year period. Usually we check the system within a 1-year period. There was no violations within that year period, hence the first offense was issued.
Okay,
And I don't believe they've had any violations since. I don't believe.
okay. All right, so I'm gonna find that it happened. The pictures show that it did happen. It obviously was there. They had no permit. And I think that, based upon the testimony, the city gave ample time for Mr. Orta to do something. And the fact that she even followed up with him afterwards, you know, is positive to say, listen, you can't mess around with this anymore. You have to have a permit prior to any event. So I'm going to find that it occurred, I'm going to reduce it to $750, however, because it is their first offense, within a year anyway. And we'll go from there. So I guess 30 days as well,
Yes,
Counsel?
that's fine.
September 9th, sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Next case.
Page 27, top one. SMA 1901 for 2210 Alton Road.
Good evening, Your Honor.
Hold on, give me just 1 second, 1901. I don't have page numbers.
You can't see them?
No. That's okay, I'm finding them. Good evening.
Good evening.
What is your name?
Mitya Pizzadat. I manage in a way the house in 2210.
Okay,
On
hold
behalf
on,
of the
hold
owner?
on just a second. Okay, I just need to write your name down here.
Count 5 pages.
Okay. Okay, and how are you related to this property?
Well, I'm an agent for Valere, the company that owns the property.
A real estate agent?
I'm a real estate agent, but in this case, I'm agent on the company. So you can see it on Sunbees that my name comes up as agent for the company.
The registered agent?
Yes, correct. Because the owner is outside of the United States, so I'm the person that is trying to take care of his property while he's away.
Okay. Inspector?
Hi, good evening, Your Honor. My name is Code Compliance William Alfonso. And like you said, this is for a sanitation violation for 2210 Alton Road. It was issued the 28th of February, and the violation was posted at 12:20 a.m.
This is 2019?
This is 2019, correct?
Okay.
Yes. And the violation is for section 90-102 for illegal disposal of solid waste, which is except as provided elsewhere in this chapter. It shall be unlawful to dispose, dump garbage, trash, or any other solid waste upon vacant, occupied, or unoccupied premises, or upon any street, alley, parkway, or park. So,
Do you have any
Um,
proof of anything? Do you have pictures?
yeah.
Do you have anything?
yes, sir.
Show us.
Sure.
The violation of itself is for $500, and since the violation was not corrected, sanitation had to go out and remove the trash, and that was an additional $462. So total fines would be $962.
Let me ask you, can I ask a question?
Well, I'd like to see the
Yeah,
pictures
were you
first,
able
if I
to
could.
look at
Well,
the
hold
address?
on, can I see I need to see the photos. Is this the second? Okay, you can keep those. So let me just look at them while you're asking. Just give me a second. Thank you. Okay. All right, go ahead, sir.
Were you able to look at the address on the single boxes to make sure that the address was the one of the property, 2210 Alton Road? Or you just noticed some boxes in front of the property?
I didn't confirm to see if it was. It looked like the property had done some renovations, and what I do remember is some trash being out there. I think there was a TV, like a large TV box, outside of the property. We issued the violation for the property itself, and then when we came back later, I think it was on the 4th of March. I was actually there with Officer Maharaj, and we were able to speak with Garrett. I guess he was friends with the owner. He tried to contact the owner. So we did talk to them. They didn't tell us that the garbage was not theirs. We did let them know that since they hadn't complied within the 24 hours, that we were going to send sanitation out to take the trash. At no time did they mention that that trash was not theirs.
Okay, I don't personally know any Gary. Did he tell you what was his purpose with the property? What was he doing, something in particular? Did you witness?
Any disposal from their part?
Yeah, have you seen anybody putting stuff directly on the lawn, on the front lawn of the property?
I did not see anybody putting lawn out, and anybody putting trash outside on the lawn, but either way, they are responsible for that area. And like I said, it looked like they had just purchased a couple things and they just threw the trash out in
Because I'm
front of
trying
the
to understand, because I'm
You
a real
live
estate
there?
agent.
Do you live there?
I don't live there, no.
Does anybody live there?
Well, there was somebody living there from February 15th.
Until when?
They're still there.
They're still there?
They're still there.
Okay.
But I was notified this after the fine was issued, so that's something that apparently went on from before. But my question is that nobody witnessed anybody from the house doing anything in there, and the address on the boxes was not verified as being matching with the property. So I'm a real estate agent. I do have some multifamily buildings that I manage for a company, North Beach, mostly. Unfortunately, it does happen often that neighbors tend to dump unwanted boxes and other items in other people's space. So obviously, I wasn't there when that happened, but the fact that the address was not verified and then nobody actually witnessed anybody dumping anything in front of the property, it's hard for me to agree with the fine. I understand that it's circumstantial, but I don't see anything that can guarantee that the boxes actually came from that house.
So, in March, you wrote a letter that said that the garbage was left out for 2 weeks without the bin or anything else being picked up, and I feel this fine is excessive since it should have been included in the services the city provides. So were you aware of the boxes outside?
I was not until after the fine
When
was
did you
issued.
go to the property?
I was there for the move-in, so February 15th.
Okay, and then when's the next time you went?
Literally the day then the fine was issued. I think this
And-
Gary, which I'm not familiar
That
with,
was
but
on February 28th, correct, Inspector?
Right, I issued it on February 28th, and we,
so that was the day I was notified, and when I got there, it was already picked up everything that was in
So
front.
how do you know the garbage was out there for 2 weeks?
I don't.
You
That's
wrote it in your letter. Didn't you send a letter dated March 15, 2019, along with your appeal that said, because the garbage was left out for 2 weeks without the bin or anything else being picked up, and I feel this fine is excessive since it should have been included in the services the city provides. So you must have gone to the property 2 weeks later when
It
the
was at the-
violation.
I was at the property when the fine was issued. I didn't know about the trash before. So I
But you
guess,
wrote, but,
but
no,
like,
no, no,
'cause
no,
I'm
no,
looking
no,
at
hold on. You sent a letter
yes,
when you found out about the fine, which was the 28th of February, right, when it was issued, that the trash had been there for 2 weeks, which would take it to February 15th, which would take it to when your tenants moved in. So, based upon your evidence in the file, based upon the pictures and your testimony that you had tenants that moved in on the 15th, and 2 weeks later, the garbage is still there when you get the notice. You wrote it yourself.
I understand what happened. That wasn't actually wrote by me. I didn't write it.
You didn't write it?
No, I think it was done by the.
It has your name on it.
I think it was done by the tenant in my place, not by me.
Okay, so then, but it
The
has your...
confusion stems from that because I could not make it for the appeal that date, so he came. I think whatever he wrote, it's not my version. I think he wrote that himself.
So then it leads me further to believe that it's their trash that they put out there. If
I
he-
have-
If it was your tenant who said, that garbage has been there for 2 weeks, and I've been living here for 2 weeks, versus, you know...
I think what I can see from the photos, and now I'm honestly trying to understand the situation as well, because again, what I said is actually all the information that I have, is that I see here a trash bin that is being tipped
Knocked
over. when the property was empty, because it was empty for over a year and a half,
Mhm.
that property, nobody was living in there. I have never seen the trash being outside of the property. It usually was inside. There was no use for it because no garbage was being produced.
But this was after your tenants had moved in. So maybe they put it out there. Your tenants are already living on the property when this happened. So that's why the bin
I
went
can-
out.
I
The
cannot-
bin's not
honestly,
gonna
I
go
cannot-
out if
I
you've got
cannot
nobody
rule
in
it
the
out.
house.
I cannot rule it out.
Right.
The only thing I can say is, what they told me is that it wasn't them. And I understand how it looks, but again, I don't have any evidence on the boxes that
Was
that
the
was
garbage there
address.
the last time you went?
Huh?
Were the boxes there when you were there?
Were we there the last time? No.
No, they weren't?
There were no boxes, no.
And when was the last time you were there?
Well, last time was about 20 days ago. I left Miami for about 20 days, so I just got back today.
And those tenants are still there? Your tenants are still
Yeah,
there?
they stay there until mid-August. Have you seen any other,
No, I haven't seen any more
So this
illegal
is a
dumping. no.
6-month lease?
it's a 6 months lease?
Okay. Well, you know, the evidence to me is pretty clear. That this was because of your tenants. So, I don't know if your tenants are gonna pay for it or not.
If the tenants are not gonna pay, is the landlord then responsible for the tenants in this case?
It's the landlord's property.
How
So,
much was the fine?
The fine was 500 plus an additional 462 for the pickup charges, leading to 962 would be the fine.
okay, well, I'm gonna find that it happened because to me, it's just, it's evident. It's evident. But I'm gonna reduce the fine to $250, but you still have to pay for the sanitation, so the total's gonna be $712. And how long does she need to pay that? Or do you need to pay that? 60 days? 45 days, 30 days?
30 days.
Okay, there'll be a bill in the mail. So that'll be September 9th, 2019, okay? And you'll get an order in the mail with how to pay that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Inspector. Next case.
Okay, same page, bottom one. So it's SMA 1909 for 1216 Washington Avenue, BTR.
Good afternoon, sir. What is your name?
Good evening. Eamon Jamor, Neighborhood Compliance Services, on behalf of the
Welcome
owner.
back.
Thank you.
I think, right?
1909.
All right. Okay, Inspector.
Good evening, Your Honor. Anthony Perez, City of Miami Beach Code Compliance Department. Your Honor, this is a violation of Section 102-377. In actuality, I'm actually, well, the city is requesting that the case be dismissed on the fact that it was created in error. The initial one was issued, because he's here for, we have two cases, one coming after this, but the first one was issued on 3/6/2019, if I'm correct, and this one was issued within 2 weeks. It should be a 30-day period between two
Okay,
issues
so
of violations.
case 1909 is being dismissed. Is that correct?
Yes, that's what I'm pushing for.
Okay, dismissed.
Thank you.
All right. That was easy. Right, Mr. Jamar? Didn't have to do it?
Yeah, I don't know if we should stay up if it's next or.
Okay, let's go to page,
The same property?
Yes.
it would be page 26,
Mhm.
which is actually the last page. No. is it the
No,
last
I've got it. I've got it.
You got it?
1216
Okay.
Washington,
It's
right?
SMA 1894 for 1216 Washington Avenue.
Right. Okay, so this is the one that sticks.
Correct.
Okay,
Well,
go
hopefully
ahead.
not sticks, but. this
Hopefully
is-
not, right? All right, go ahead.
Anthony
Inspector.
President, Beach Code Compliance Department. Your Honor, this is a violation of section 102-377 for any person failing to obtain a business tax receipt as required by this article. Violation was issued dated March 6, 2019, and the BTR was issued March 22nd, 2019. This is the first offense.
But it's two different companies?
Well, it was a DBA. The DBA wasn't listed as in the state. So after they listed in the state, that's, I guess, the confusion that,
So it's Pilo Street Tacos?
it's Pilo Street Talkers, and the
Now-
DBA is Waterloo.
So DBA is Waterloo, okay.
During
Okay,
initial inspection, the DBA hadn't been set up yet. So once it was set up, then the following was issued. That was the confusion there.
all right, so need some information about this. How long when this was issued?
It was
March what?
issued March 6, 2019, and the BTR was issued on the 22nd of the same month.
The owner had I think, a resort tax that he had to take care of and another violation before that. So that's what the time was.
Okay,
Jim McMillan, City of Miami Beach Finance Department. The BTR was issued on March 22nd. It was paid on March 20th. They had not paid during the renewal process. At the time of renewal, they had a resort tax balance due and 2 open violations. Subsequent to issuing a violation, they were able to appeal to both of the violations. One of them was the other one that we handled tonight. So that allowed us to issue the BTR once they paid the resort tax. But the issue is it's a March violation for something that was due by September 30th, and they had a previous year BTR.
but you said that they had a violation at the time.
Yes, but
Well, they didn't pay the resort tax.
they
which
owed
would
the
have
resort
prevented them
tax.
from getting their BTR.
Correct,
Okay.
but they didn't pay for the BTR. So
Well,
usually.
they didn't pay for
No,
it.
they didn't
Okay.
pay to it until March 20th. So subsequent to getting the violation, they paid for their BTR fee. So I would be more lenient if they paid it, when it was due prior to September 30th. But as it is, they're 6 months late.
Okay, so so as far as my understanding of what the owner was not going through, but what he understood was I know every year they change the color of the BTR, so sometimes it's green, pink, or whatever. He did not know. Prior to that, he only knew that he only had to get it once through the City of Miami Beach, and he thought he had to renew the one for City of Miami-Dade. I don't know why. Obviously, you have to renew, but he didn't know if that's his first year, correct?
No,
No, but not the violation prior to that. He only.
no,
he's
he
only been
renewed the
business
previous year. I mean, he's had the business for like 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was
he
renewed every year.
hasn't been aware that he had to renew it. So when he got the violation and they shut him down that night, that's when he reached out to us and he was wondering why they shut him down. He did not know that he had to renew. So I'm guessing he didn't.
But hold on, but he's
Yeah.
been renewing for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
But is it the same owner?
Same owner, yeah. He had the previous years and the year before.
Yeah, yeah,
That he renewed on time.
yeah.
And, and I agree with the city that the issue is that he didn't pay for the renewal, even though he couldn't have gotten it
Yeah.
because of the resort tax issue. He didn't pay for it. But now he has it, and he's paid his resort tax. And
Yes.
he took care of that other case. So, obviously it happened, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and reduce it to 500, though. He has until September 9th to pay it.
Can we have 45 on that? The 24th?
Sure, September 24th.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Just tell him, make sure he pays it. Even if he owes something else, tell him to pay for it, so he doesn't have these fines.
Correct.
Okay? Thank you so much, Mr. Kumar.
No problem. We have one more, so I'll be
You
back.
have one more, okay.
It's the next one down. So it's SMA 19, 1895 for 1044 Penn.
This is another BTR. Boy, you're just a BTR kind of guy, huh? All right. Go ahead, Inspector, thank you.
Good evening, Your Honor. This is for failing to obtain a business tax receipt within the city of Miami Beach for the building located at 1044 Pennsylvania Avenue. The violation was issued on March 3rd at March 11, 2019. And the business tax receipt has been obtained on May 10, 2019. So 2 months later, they obtained their business tax receipt.
So you did the violation on the 11th of March or the 3rd?
I did it on March, I issued a violation on March 11, and then
March
they
11th.
obtained it 2
Okay,
months
and then
later.
they got it, okay.
Wasn't it obtained March 15th?
No, my records indicate that it was obtained on May 10th, 2 months.
I have March 15th written down here, so.
Jim McMillan, City of Miami Beach Finance, March 15th was the day they paid.
March 15th was the day they paid. So they paid
No,
4
you're right.
days after. Okay,
They paid on the 15th, they got it on,
okay, so tell me what's going on with this one.
Okay, with this guy, it's a little different situation. He's actually going through a real serious health issue. He's actually in remission now. This is his first offense, is that correct?
correct.
Okay, so he's never really had an issue with the BTR. He was dealing with an issue in March. He's in remission now, so he's doing a lot better. That's the reason for the delay. He contacted us. We manage a few other of his properties, and all the other ones are in good standing. So this was the only one that I guess he slipped his mind or wasn't,
But not, forget March, let's talk about September.
Yes.
Because you said March was when he was real sick and he got.
Well, no, he's been dealing with the situation, the serious matter, for a while now. But after March, when he received the violation,
Oh, then he paid.
yes.
What's the history of this building and the BTRs?
Jim McMillan, City of Miami Beach Finance Department. I've researched back the previous 4 years. He had his BTR, he paid on time. What he did do is upon receiving a violation for code compliance, he came in and paid. So the bill was due September 30th, and he paid it on March 15th. The lapse between March 15th and May 10th, when it was issued, was that he had a zoning violation. Zoning violation 2019-02436. He had to resolve that. He resolved that, and upon resolving that violation, he was able to have the BTR issued. But it's still the gap.
So once again, it's the
Six-month
payment,
gap, yeah.
the payment date. But you're saying that he was very ill and he's now in
Yes,
remission.
I mean, technically, he still is. He's doing a lot better now. But during that time, he was, in and out of the hospital dealing with a serious matter.
And you know this-
I don't think it's a sickness that he can actually.
And you know this to be true.
Yes, 100%.
I mean, he seems to have been a fairly good citizen in previous years by getting it on time. Granted, this time he was lapsed, but the minute he found out about it, 4 days later, he came in and he took care of it. Or when he was reminded about it, he came in 4 days later and then he had a zoning violation. When was the zoning violation issued? Do you have that information?
It's a 2019 violation, so
It was after.
it was after that, yeah.
Do you have a specific date on that?
And I would know, it'd be between October 1st and today.
And this is a $1,000 fine?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to adjudicate, but I'm going to waive it. Based upon your testimony and your personal knowledge, that this gentleman is
Yes, I deal with.
very ill.
I deal with a few of his properties, and I know personally firsthand that he's not doing okay at the moment.
All right,
Thank you, Your Honor.
thank you. Is that it?
Thank you.
Done?
That's it.
No,
Thank you.
Well, we got no show.
No, I know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've got a, do I have a police case?
Policeman, officer, come to the podium. On page 26, the second one down, SMA 19-1889 for 1418 Collins Avenue. This is a police appeal.
Let me see if there's any notice. Okay, this went to Big Bus Tours, Brian Alvarez, 2444 Northwest 7th Place, Miami, Florida, 33127. It was signed for by somebody with that address, and it was delivered on March 25th, 2019. Let me just take a look at something here. And that's the address that is on the notice of appeal to special master. So I'm going to find that there was proper notice and he failed to appear. Officer, all you.
Okay. Your Honor, on February 21st, 2019, at approximately 8:32 p.m., I observed a red a tour bus, which was stopped at the Portugal block of Collins Avenue. It was obstructing traffic. I believe it was loading and unloading passengers from the vehicle. I issued the driver the citation. He received it. I acknowledged it by his signature. And this is under statute, Miami-Dade Ordinance 82-151. This occurred in Miami Beach, Florida, Miami-Dade County.
Okay. Do you have a picture?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so this was blocking where?
1400 block of Collins Avenue. On
1400?
On the actual travel lane.
Okay.
Yeah, he was on the roadway.
And how long was it there? Do you know?
When I showed up, there was, again, there was passengers coming in and out of the vehicle. And by the time that I observed and ran the vehicle's information and all that, I went to the driver, the vehicle was still there.
This is one of those
Big red,
sightseeing things
those
with the
travel
open top?
buses, yes,
Yeah.
those sightseeing buses.
Okay. All right. Since there was proper notice and he failed to appear, I'm going to issue the fine for $1,000. I'm going to give him till September 24th to pay for it. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
You're giving him until when?
September 24th.
It's a first offense, right?
I believe so. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But that's the fine that was issued on the ticket, was $1,000. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, now we go back to the beginning.
2018, 1492, 100 Lincoln Road, Morgan Whitney Realty.
What do you,
Am I going too fast for you?
no, the first one, SMA 8, is for 6
Oh.
o'clock. 1322.
Sorry.
It's all right. Because I figured we start from the beginning.
Yeah, well, that's a good
Okay.
idea.
SMA 181322 for 423 16th Street. This was reset for proper service back in April.
And did you get service? No.
Well, does it say it's sent to be posted?
It says sent for posting, but was it posted?
That you have to ask.
I
the
have no
officer if
proof
I
of
don't have it.
posting.
Good evening, Your Honor. Anthony Perez, City of Miami Beach Code Compliance, the custodian records for this case. I haven't made aware of any sort of posting. If you want, I can.
What is that? This is the notice. Is that somebody's who's the officer? Andrew Yanis?
The issuing officer no longer works for our department. I'm the custodian records for this case. I'm not sure if that's a signature or not. I
Okay.
haven't given
All
it a
right.
look.
Give me a second here. Give me a second.
Let me see. Data violation. Is this a 423? June 1st.
Do you have an address for this, Mr. McMillan? Oh, wait, let's see where this went. Hold on. Miami Beach Theater, they're showing their mailing address at 2142 Alton Road. And where, let me see where this notice went. I don't see any notice sent out. Who sends the notices out?
You mean for posting?
No, for mail.
I do. And I
Right.
sent it for posting.
Well, do we know if anything came back?
Seriously?
Well, I mean, they're supposed to give it back to me. What's in your hand there? That's the posted one.
Who is that?
Whoever signed for it.
Well, I don't know who that is.
Well, it would be the officer that went out and.
Okay, that officer is not present today. So I don't know if they received notice. and it was reset from proper service. So somebody posted it, but I have no proof of posting. I don't know who this person is who signed this, that possibly posted it on May 24th, 2019. I can't read it. There's nobody here to testify as to who that is.
What I can do, I can look into the case now and see if there's any sort of notes, any sort of posting in there. I have an iPad right here. I can access the case right now to see
Will the records state that it was posted and by whom and when?
if it was, then yes.
If it was?
Yes.
Okay,
I
can you
looked
check,
into notes for that.
can you check that for me? I can't find no-show unless it was posted. Okay, could be, or the air conditioner. All right, let's call the next one while we're waiting. 2018-1492, 100 Lincoln Road. Oh, is that him? Is that you? I'm sorry. Can somebody look that up for him? This one was posted. I have a picture of it.
Perfect. And that one I remember posting, so.
All right. Okay, let's do this one. Go ahead.
All right, let me just look. Okay.
Proper notice failed to appear. What happened? This is a BTR, 1492, yeah.
So this is a violation of section 102-377 for failing to obtain a BTR. The notice was issued back in August 6, 2018, and the BTR was obtained January 17th of 2019. So you're looking at 4 months of them not having one.
Okay. Go ahead.
Jim McMillan, City of Miami Beach Finance Department. The date of issuance of the violation?
Date of issuance was
August
August 6, 2018.
That violation was for the previous year.
Yeah.
So they never complied with the previous year, and they didn't come in to resolve the issue. They paid for both years on 12/28. We issued it on 1/18/2019. So they operated a year without a BTR, and then 4 months into the next year.
So okay, so the BTR for 1920 was late,
Yes,
and the whole 1819 was never
it was never issued.
BTR'd?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. $1,000 fine, is that what it is?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So they can have until the 24th of September to pay it. $1,000 fine. Correct. There was proper notice failed to appear. Were you able to find anything on that?
No.
Nothing,
There's-
okay.
There's nothing.
This one has to be reset for service. Send it, it shouldn't be too hard to get these folks. They're right there on Lincoln Road.
Obviously, it was dead the first time, that's why it was reset.
Well, let's reset it again. And when do you want to do it? October 10th? Does that give you enough time?
Yeah, I'll get it done within the week, or whenever it's sent to me.
Okay, reset October 10th.
Next one, SMA
Hold on. I just need to make sure that there's proof of posting if it's posted. And
What was that, Your Honor? I'm sorry?
make sure if
for
it
sure.
gets posted, that it's posted.
For sure.
And there's
I know.
proof of posting, not just a scribble signature, take a picture.
Gotcha.
Okay, thank you very much. Next case.
Next one down, SMA 18-1622 for 620 Michigan Avenue. This also was reset for proper service. I think this is sanitation violation.
All right, hold on. This is a sanitation violation, mattress dumped.
$16.92?
Are there, just let me look for some, okay. All right, so there's no notice for this hearing. Well, it says sent for posting, but nothing happened. So the mailing address, which is where the notice should go as well as posting, is 850 Ocean Drive, Suite 203, not the address of the violation, which is where this went. So this has got to be reset one more time. Okay, for service. Send it to, do it on October 10th. Can you send it to the mailing address as well that's on the notice of appeal, as well as post it on the violation property?
On the violation property or the registry or the,
The violation,
50 Ocean Drive.
the violation property is 620 Michigan.
you want us to post it as both locations?
You can post it in both, but let's send a letter to her at her mailing address.
850 Ocean Drive, Unit 203.
Correct. Ocean, yeah.
No problem. We'll do that.
Thank you.
That where it was sent initially?
No.
Well, who was the one that came in and submitted a request to appeal? What address did they give?
They gave a mailing address, and that's the 805.
850.
I mean, 850. Yeah,
Yeah, just send us the PDF and we'll post it.
yeah. Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next one, SMA 181647, 7900 Crespi. This also was rescheduled based on finance.
Based on finance. Oh,
It's a MBCDC building.
this doesn't go in here. Cindy, this goes to another one, case. That's a different case. We heard that one already, today, sometime, 3 o'clock calendar. Okay, let's see, this went to Ahmed Martin at 945 Pennsylvania Avenue, number 2, Miami Beach, Florida, 33139, I think, 39?
That's the old registered agent.
That's the what?
Previous registered agent.
Says Unit 2. Okay, he has, the notice of violation is 7900 Crespi, right?
Yes.
Right, Crespi Boulevard. His mailing address that he provided is 945 Pennsylvania Avenue, which is where it looks like notice was sent. Yes. And it was signed for. So I'm gonna find proper notice and he failed to appear.
Okay.
Okay.
Good evening, Maya Jefferson, City of Miami Beach Code compliant. And this violation was issued on May 30th of 2018 for section 102-377, any person failing to obtain a business tax receipt as required by the state, by this article. And this was an apartment building that was operating without a business tax receipt at the time. The last time I checked, I do see that they have a current business tax receipt in the system now.
So this was for 1718?
Yes.
No. Yeah, 1718 year.
17,
October
18.
17
Yes.
through 18.
Yes.
But they've had one ever since?
No.
Well, I see that the last thing I checked in the system, it says that they have their current 2019 business tax receipt. This was acquired May 15th of 2019, so they got this year, the one I'm seeing right now. But when I issued for
So they're
last
not
year.
violated for this year, because they have it now, for 18, for
Right.
19.
19.
Yes.
For 1819. Right. So that, but that's not this violation. They seem to
No.
pay in May for some reason or other.
Yes.
What information can you give me?
Jim McMillan, City of Miami Beach Finance Department. 7900 Crespi Boulevard is owned by MBCDC. It's a low-income housing unit. We had a portfolio of properties. There was a turnover of management.
Right.
The new managers came in and they've been cleaning them up. This particular property, this year's BTR was paid back on 8/9/2018, and the previous year's BTR was paid. The city was allowing them to work on their violations. At the time, they had 11 violations, all building and code. They were able to comply with everything, cleaned it up. They have a new manager, it's been coming, I'm surprised he didn't come in today. But they've cleared up all their violations, they're prepaid for it, and as of May 15th, they're in compliance for this year and the last year. But it was a big project on numerous buildings with a fixed amount of money, so they worked hard.
So,
I would like to request we close the violation since they're in compliance.
all right, for
Approve the appeal.
finance, close the violation.
Okay,
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, no, thank you.
thank you.
You want me to return the court costs too?
Yes, please,
Sure, why not?
if that's okay with Your Honor.
Okay, SMA 181722.
Hold on.
1929 Purdy Avenue.
That's the next page.
Yes. All right. See, this is one of the issues that I'm having, is that I have no proof of posting. It was sent for posting, but I have no proof of posting unless you have some proof of posting right now.
Good evening, Your Honor. I was given this case today. I'm just a custodian of record.
Is there any proof of posting?
I don't have a proof of posting for this location.
Nor do I.
So,
Nor did any mail. Let me see what the address is. The address of the violation is 1929 Purdy Avenue. The mailing address is the same, 1929 Purdy. We need to reset it for service.
I have a different address for the registered agent for Farofa Restaurant.
Okay, well, you can send it to them as well. I don't have any of that, I'm looking at the notice of appeal that was filled out by Felipe Ortiz.
Yes, I believe he is one of the, the business,
Yeah.
the thing is that the business is closed, the license is closed.
For the appeals, we don't do registered agent.
They're closed? Hold
That's
on,
who we
but
serve.
you can, yeah, okay.
The business is closed, it's been closed since March 26, 2019, I believe.
Yep.
Of this year. The license is closed, the location's empty, free of this business. The registered agent I have on file is at 92 Southwest 3rd Street, Unit 512. That's where we send our violations to.
Yeah, that's fine. You send the violations, you don't send the notice of hearing?
No, we send, we don't send the
Yeah,
notices of hearing.
Yeah.
We post it when they're within the city, we post it, but we don't have anywhere to post it now because the business is closed.
Yeah.
Jim McMillan, City of Miami Beach Finance Department. The last BTR issued was for 2016, 2017. So they've been operating almost 2 years without a BTR. And it appears they purposely rescheduled, delayed the process, and now they're out of business. So I'd like to deny the appeal and leave the fine if they try to operate again in the city.
Okay.
We have a bill outstanding.
All right, very good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, just deny the appeal.
Deny the appeal.
Deny the
yeah.
appeal.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The fine stands.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay, next page, we got nothing. The next page, nothing. The next page, nothing. The next page, nothing. The next page, nothing. That's it. Are we done? Where?
I have
You have one? We're done.
860 Ocean and 1216 Washington.
That was dismissed by the no.
S 1299, that was on the last page.
You're talking about 1909? What's the?
1908 and 1909.
The 1908 was closed by the city,
Okay.
and that's the attorney was here, and they closed it. And
Oh,
then
okay, yes, yes. Yeah, that, okay.
1909 was dismissed by the city, that was Waterloo,
Waterloo,
that was
okay.
the DBA.
That's the second one.
Right.
And what about 01299, 2000 Collins?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking
It should have been, well,
Would you
on
say 201 Collins?
2000 Collins, SMA 2018 01299.
Is it on yours?
I have it
No.
right after 3 o'clock, the first one. It says 6 o'clock on my calendar.
Right.
Okay, let
Yeah.
me look at the 3 o'clock calendar.
Maybe it's on that. Right after 1600 Collins Avenue.
Board, we proceed.
Have it?
Yeah, I have it.
Oh, I have it marked off. Yeah, I have it.
That's my bad.
Okay, then we'll call SMA 2018-1299, 2000 Collins Avenue. Okay.
Good evening, Your Honor. Anthony Perez, City of Miami Beach Code Compliance. Your Honor, this is a violation of section 102
Hold on.
She's checking service.
Oh, gotcha.
We communicate telepathically.
Once again, I have no proof of service.
And it was reset.
Okay. We have a... Okay, so the notice, is this for Unit 7?
From what I have, based on my records here, because I'm the custodian of the records, I just have for 2000 Collins Avenue. I don't have any specific unit number.
Okay, I don't know, it says here the address of, and this was, Damian Gallo appealed this case. The violator is Orange Blossom.
For the violator I have here is Charles Saint LLC.
Well, maybe Orange Blossom is
Yeah, the DBA.
GBA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or somebody's name. With the mailing address of 309 23rd Street, Suite 312.
Correct, that's what I have as well.
I don't know if that's Miami, but it came through Damian Gallo in May of 2018 is when they appealed it. But I don't have any service. I've got no proof of posting, so it's got to be reset again.
And their office is here on the beach anyway, so I can just easily jet on over and deliver it.
But I need proof.
Of course.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Let's reset it for October 10th, 2019.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay? Thank you all very much.